We have prepared a series of videos in an attempt to give you some insight in how to mitigate a robbery. I think we can all agree that robbery is a very traumatic experience and it affects different persons, in different ways. We're going to take this opportunity to give you some information that you may be able to use to your benefit to ensure your survival. Because at the end of the day, that is the end goal, to survive any situation, in this case, a robbery. Good, so stay tuned and let's get at it. Right, so let's discuss briefly what the law says about what a robbery is, or it defines a robbery. The Larceny Act, Chapter 1112 at Section 24, basically gives us some insight as to what a robbery involves. Good? And Chapter 24 says, any person who being armed with any offensive weapon or instrument, or being together with one other person or more, robs or assaults with intent to rob any person. So basically what that means is that anybody who is armed along with one person or any other number of persons, they rob you, or they assault you as well, and they take your things and they against your will and they leave. Nice. It goes on to say, or robs any person, and at the time of or immediately before or immediately after the robbery uses personal violence to any person or to you. Right? And then it goes on to explain convictions and liabilities as the case might be for persons found guilty of committing such acts. Let's discuss the emotion that comes along with a robbery. When the incident is not about to take place, there's a realization. Some persons, they go through a series of emotions. One would be anger. Some persons get very angry. Some persons become very afraid. They become very fearful. Some persons, they go into a state of disbelief or shock that is this really happening? It's like a dream. They can't believe that this is happening to them. They go into a state of denial. How you mitigate these circumstances will depend on how you feel at the time. But what I want you to understand is that there's a sequence of things that you should do regardless of how you feel initially, or that initial emotion. There's a sequence of things that you can use to guide you through that process for you to come out successful on the opposite end. Now remember, the main objective is to survive the robbery. At the end of the day, material things can be replaced. Somebody steal your wallet with $100,000 in it, you're alive, you could always make an next $100,000. Somebody steals your car, you can always recover the vehicle or purchase a new vehicle. What you can't do is reincarnate yourself. Well, unless you have the ability that I don't know about. And if you do, then share it with us. Nice. So that sequence of emotions, or those different types of emotions, you have to mitigate it by use of a sequence of things that you can use to help you move through that process, that traumatic process of a robbery, of being robbed. Nice. And at Hubris, with our training, with our force on force training, we apply an acronym by the name of COMEC, C-O-M-E-C. So the first stage of that robbery, in realizing that, hey, I am involved in a robbery, I'm the victim of a robbery, I'm about to be the victim of a robbery, the first thing you need to do is to stay calm. Now, it's easy to say, stay calm. But when in the situation or in the circumstance as it unfolds, initially, the ability to stay calm might be very difficult for some persons. But it's important for you to understand that staying calm is the first stage of survival. That's the first stage of making it to the end. You must realize, listen, this is a robbery. I need to be as calm as possible so that I can listen to the commands, I can listen to the instructions that I'm receiving, so that I can go through the process as smoothly as possible. Because it's a process, but it's a traumatic process. It may or may not involve violence, but at the end of the day, you want to come out as a survivor on the other end. Nice. So first and foremost, stay calm. While staying calm, observations. So see, in Comek, calm or observe. What do you observe? You observe the number of persons, you observe what they're wearing, you observe features, tattoos, hairstyle, ethnicity, height. There are different things that you need to make observations of. The direction they came from, the direction that they leave, you need to make these type of observations. It is important for you to understand that observation goes hand in hand with evaluation. To go down the acronym, you will realize where evaluation and observation work hand in hand. If you do not observe carefully, you can make a bad evaluation of the circumstances, and depending on how the event progresses, you can end up making serious or deadly errors. So observation is crucial. Bring me to M in Comek. Make mental notes. Just simply observing without making mental notes could inhibit your ability to recount the information that would have happened or to recount the event. So it's important for you not just to observe, but to make mental notes, especially of things that stand out, like tattoos, for example, like hairstyles, for example, dress code, what they're wearing, what the assailant's wearing. If there's a vehicle, the make and model of the vehicle. If you can get the vehicle registration number, even better. So these key things you want to make particular mental notes of. Yes, from the time you observe a person, there's a general evaluation of a person by way of their height and ethnicity, even the type of clothes that they're wearing. But then there are some finer details that you should really make mental notes of. Good? Like I spoke of, tattoos, etc. Evaluate. Evaluation of the circumstances is extremely crucial, because your accuracy of evaluation of the circumstances will determine whether it's a situation that you can escape, whether it's a situation where you survive, whether it's a situation where you apply force, where you can apply force. So your evaluation of the circumstances is extremely important. And it's easy to watch television and play video games and go on YouTube and look at a lot of tutorials to tell you how to comply or to tell you how to evaluate and how to respond and how to react in a situation such as a robbery. But at the end of the day, you will not know what it feels like unless you are actually involved in a robbery, or you have been involved in a robbery, or you train continuously. Comply. It is important to follow the instructions of your assailants. And I'll tell you why. From the time you resist, they see you as a threat to their whole operation. And when they see you as a threat to your whole operation, they will want to, one, calm you down, and two, send a message to the other persons around, if the other persons are around. In that, if you are the strongest one, when we break your back or we take away your strength, everybody else who is weaker than you will naturally submit themselves. So it's important for you to also comply, in other words, play sheep, to go through the process as much as possible, to ensure that at the end of it all, you come out successful on the other side, alive on the other side. Nice. So let's take a look now at persons who are victims of a robbery while it is actually happening and being armed. So you're there, the robbery is in progress, the assailants are there, and assailants usually come in numbers, not just one person, and they are usually armed. So you're a victim there in the process of being in a robbery, but you are armed. You're a licensed firearm holder. Your evaluation becomes even more crucial or even more critical. Why? Depends on what you do can mean the difference between life or death. It could also mean the difference of innocent persons losing their lives. So that evaluation process that you will go through based on your circumstances, it multiplies as a firearm user license holder. Your ability to make sound judgment would depend strictly on your confidence and your competence to apply that force. Your knowledge is extremely important. So this is why training again comes into play. This is why training is one of the most crucial aspects of being a firearm holder. Yes, I mean, you will give granted the opportunity to possess a firearm for your personal safety, as the case might be. And you may feel that, or you may perceive that the training is too expensive. At Hubris, we work with our clients. We have cost-effective training where we can tailor our training programs. We can take parts of different programs, piece them together to make them a little more cost-effective to you. If you so choose to take the whole package, we can offer you the whole package, as the case might be. So training develops your confidence, which in turn would affect your competence. In this case of a robbery, when you evaluate the circumstances and if you decide to use deadly force, you must be confident and you must be competent. And the only way you can achieve that is through training. Nice, we've seen in some times recently where some firearm users, licensed firearm users, would have had to use their firearm, and it's obvious that they have been training. And this is what we want everybody to do. We want everybody to get into the habit of training, of taking the time, putting some resources towards it as well. Now, when faced with that situation or that circumstances of being armed, a firearm holder, license holder, and using your firearm, now I can't tell you when to use your firearm or when to draw or when to engage a threat during a robbery. Your evaluation or your interpretation of the circumstances will dictate whether you should or should not use your firearm. Now, this is the interesting thing about post situation or the post circumstances or after the circumstances, that everybody have a million things to say about what you should do, what you should have done. At the end of the day, you are the person in this scenario, you are the person in the situation, you are the person with the firearm, you are the person with the responsibility to train, you are the person who would ultimately make the decision, and you are the person who will ultimately have to take responsibility for your actions. So your evaluating process, having been trained, having been evaluated, having been certified, placed in a scenario like that, you just refer to your training, and as part of your training would have your after action report. So you would know what to report and how to report what you need to report. Good. So I wouldn't tell you, this scenario, use your firearm here, don't use your firearm here. I am not there, and God willing, I will not be there. You are in the scenario, you have to make evaluation, you have to answer for what you would have done for your actions. So it's important that you show that you have been training, one. Two, that you have certification that you can use as leverage if you need to use it as leverage in the event that there is a scenario where you have to account for your actions. And this is why training is important. This is why we at Hubris advocate that no matter the cost, you train as much as possible to prepare yourselves for situations such as these. Our force-on-force courses, where you can go through a sequence of scenarios where you get to test your evaluating skills and evaluate your response to violence and your response to force, is crucial. It really prepares you for an eventuality, such as robbery. Our other videos will include what do you do after the robbery. If there's a shooting incident, what do you do as a licensed firearm holder if in fact that you would have used your firearm. We're going to go through in the next couple series how to treat with the after action or the after effects of having been robbed or having been in a robbery. Yeah. So this is Barry again from Hubris Strategic and Hubris Tactical saying stay safe and keep training.